I'd like to call this meeting to order on this day, Monday, June 8th, 2015. If Clerk Kornecki could please call the roll for us tonight.
Yes. Trustee Aiello.
Here.
Trustee Bolfus.
Here.
Trustee Kazone.
Here.
Trustee Case. Trustee Taglia.
Here.
Trustee Wagner.
Here.
President Bullwinkle.
Here. If we could all please rise for the pledge. I will lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We moved it earlier for some pictures. All right, if we could all remain standing. Trustee Taglia, would you please lead us in a prayer tonight?
Certainly. Our Heavenly Father, will thou be pleased to grant that this meeting, thus begun in order, be conducted in peace, and closed in harmony. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we can all be seated now. For those of you with us here today, we have agendas in the rack that's on the door as you come into the chamber. So, item number 3 on our agenda, our committee of the whole, is amendments to the agenda. Anybody on the board have any amendments to our COW?
One.
Oh, Trustee Aiello.
I'd like to amend committee of the whole agenda to remove 7 and place as a separate item.
Remove which item?
To move item 7 as a separate item.
It is separate on the
Oh, I'm so
committee,
sorry.
of the committee
You know
of
what,
the
I thought we
whole.
were in the next spot. Yeah, never
Yeah.
mind. Next. I'll do
It's a
the
little
next
hot
item.
here in the
Yeah.
chamber today, so
Skip
maybe
that.
we're not.
Do that later.
All right, so yeah. So you're good then? Item number 7 is separate. Okay.
Good.
Anybody else? Want to follow that? Okay, then. We're going to move on to item number 4 then. Presentation of the Historical Preservation Commission Awards. And we have Carol Marcus here. Want to step forward and let's get to it.
This year, we celebrated Historic Preservation Month in May, and I'm proud to present 4 awards for this year's preservation plaques. I'd like to introduce my commissioner, Roxanne Bozalea. And she can be Vanna White. because we've got 4
Perfect.
people here.
We like
And
Vanna
as I
White.
call your name, would you come up and I'll present the awards to you and then face the camera. Thank you. The first Historic Preservation Award goes to Larry Calvert and Jim Bergman for their custom-built 1930s bungalow-style brick home that is named the Strahl House after its first owner, who was a movie projectionist. I wonder if he was in Dole Park. It is located on South Michigan Avenue and boasts a lovely art glass windows and an arch doorway. Can you come up?
All right. Excellent.
And we got the original owner of the house. I'd like to introduce Mrs. Donovan.
Oh, wow. Stand up and see if we can get you on camera. That's how wonderful you could be here tonight, this hot night.
And how many years have you lived in the home? 42 years. It's great. We really appreciate having such a fine bungalow house in Villa Park, and I bet the town has changed a lot since you. Great. Well, thank you very much.
Lovely.
This. The next Historic Preservation Award goes to Matt Yerzema for his lovely 2-story 1927 Dutch Tudor-style house that is named the Barrowcliff House. Sounds like Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
After its first owner, who was a civil engineer. It has a porte-cochere with carriage doors, a steeply pitched roof, and was professionally landscaped. It's located on South Summit Avenue and was featured on a local house walk. Matt, would you like to say a few words?
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Villa Park's been my home since I was born. With Brandywine growing up, and then my dad built a house in Harrison back in the early 90s.
Wonderful.
It's good to have my first home be at home.
Yes. It's a lovely home. Yes. Thanks for staying in Villa Park. Thanks for staying in Villa Park.
I know, it's up and coming.
Yes.
The next award is a Historic Landmark Award, and Stephen and Heidi Trimper are the recipients for their 1915 custom-built home. Come up here. I would like to also read what's on the plaque. Their home is celebrating its 100th anniversary, built in 1915. And it was 1915 when Otto Wilkenlow, a successful sign painter in Chicago, and his wife Anna commissioned architect Robert Peyton Maynard of Oak Park to design their custom arts and crafts style house. It would be situated on the south section of a spacious 100-foot lot located on a rural street in the Villa Park subdivision of the newly established village of Ardmore. In 1915, the Wilkenlows moved into their attractive home that featured quality woodwork, built-in bookcases, and a dining room buffet. Later in 1917, the town's name was changed to the Village of Villa Park, and the Ovaltine factory was built down the street. As the land appreciated in value, the Wilkenlows sold the north section of their property to enable another house to be built. During the years, other owners have enjoyed living in this house and made improvements while preserving its character. Congratulations.
Beautiful.
And lastly, I'd like to introduce the north side of the lot, Lisa Nash.
Congratulations.
And
Looks great. Very, very nice.
Lynn Hughes. Theirs was a Sears house. The Wilkenlows divided their land into two 50-foot lots, and the Sears house was built. It's a charming 1921 bungalow, cottage-style house that is the early Rodessa model. It has a lovely perennial garden in the front yard and mature evergreens. It is located on Southville Avenue, and that's it. Would you like to say a
That's
few
wonderful.
words? You're welcome.
Well, thank you.
For those of you who don't know what a Sears house is, it was a mail-order house. It was ordered by a kit and was assembled either by the local homeowner or by a competent contractor and following, like the director said, the numbers. These present homeowners and caretakers are commended for their preservation and maintenance of these important structures that link the past with the future of Villa Park. These buildings are significant to the history and development of the village and contribute to the character and heritage. The Historical Museum will feature these 4 houses in a window display. And Villa Park has very unique and diverse architecture. The art of preservation means taking care of your home in a proper manner, in a timely manner, so that it can last, and respecting the character of your house. I think we've done a good job about that in our village. I'm proud to drive through the streets, and we've got some really lovely homes. I'd like to thank the village manager and the board for your support of preservation by maintaining the Village Hall, the Historical Museum, and working on the Chicago Great Western Train Depot. Very exciting. The village website has all kinds of information about the historic plaque program and photos for over 70 houses that have been honored. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thanks to the commission for all of the hard work that you put in. I know it's hard to, make decisions and, have to pick from all the different homes, and there's so many people out there, working on their homes. So we'll get to you one of these days.
It's a
So
lot of fun.
it
These
is.
are great people. These are our neighbors,
Uh-huh.
our friends who make this community what it is.
It is, and thanks to the recipients, and the homes look wonderful. So it's a testament to what we can do with our homes, and have a lot of pride, and so it looks wonderful. So thanks again for being here tonight. So thank you. Okay, going to move on to item number 5 on the Committee of the Whole, appointments and reappointments to boards and commissions. We have Diane Blair Sherlock, who's going to be reappointed to the Community Pride Commission. Mike Gatz, reappointed to the Summerfest Commission. Mark Smith, he's a new appointment to the Parks and Recreation Commission. And George Cordova, also a new appointment to the Parks and Rec Commission. So those of you who are with us tonight, come on forward. Well, we're going to do a motion first to approve the appointments and reappointments. We'll get to that first. Anybody have a motion for the
President?
appointments and reappointments? Trustee Taglia.
I'll move for the
Okay.
appointments.
Do we have a second?
Madam President, I'll second that
Trustee
motion.
Wagner. Okay. We'll do a roll call vote.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay. Now what we'll do is those of you who are here with us tonight, I see a few of you in the audience, come forward, and our trustee clerk, Hosanna Kornecki, will guide you through the process. So it's great to see everybody. Thank you. thanks for volunteering and working on the various commissions. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah.
If you would raise your right hand, please, repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and to faithfully perform the duties as a member of State Commission, Advisory Commission, to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Welcome aboard. All right. Move on to item number 6 then. Green stormwater presentation by folks here from the DuPage County staff. So would our staff like to kind of do a quick little intro first, or, oh, I see our Director of Public Works, Vitas Giscalis, jumping up out of his seat to get us started here.
Thank you.
So.
As you may know, we've been trying to separate the combined sewer area of the village for many years. About 8 months ago, we approved an addendum to our stormwater master plan funded through the Hurricane Ike, and it created an update to our master plan for combined sewer separation. Around the same time, we began conversations with DuPage County staff on possible alternative means of separating those areas. Traditionally it's a storm sewer, and it runs the water to the creek, and it gets the water out of the basements and out of the combined system. But there are other means of doing that, what we call green practices. So tonight, DuPage County is going to present the results of about a 8-month-long study commissioned by the county on our behalf on possible green stormwater practices in the Washington Street corridor.
Okay.
So we have Robert Swanson. I think you're going to be the main presenter, and Sarah Hahn is also here.
Okay.
And if you could introduce anybody else that's here.
Yes.
As I go along, Tom Price also from our consultant.
And we have Pete DeCiani,
Pete
who's
DeCiani as
on
well,
our
the county board.
DuPage County Board, and been very busy with stormwater, so. All right. A bit of a presentation to kind of take us through this, so.
Thank you very much for having us
Sure.
this evening. You all, I believe, have a presentation in front of you, but also feel free to follow along. DuPage County, as you probably know, is the regional entity responsible for flood control. And also, more recently, there's been a lot of regulations pushing water quality. And so we've been taking the lead as well in regional water quality control. And so we've started out by approaching communities that have combined sewers, recognizing that combined sewers will overflow in large events, and that impacts the quality of the streams that is overflowing into. So we reached out to municipalities within DuPage County that had combined sewers, and Villa Park took us up on the offer to explore where green infrastructure can be implemented within the community. With that, we hired the Conservation Design Forum as our consultant to conceptualize some plans for the community. And the project goals principally was to reduce runoff into the combined sewer. We also want to reduce any flooding, both frequency and volume, improve water quality, obviously, and then we also want to make sure that any project is aesthetically pleasing to both the village and residents as well. So hopefully you're all familiar with Villa Park. The corridor that we chose to implement our practices, or the conceptual practices along, was Washington Street. It's been extremely difficult because of the location, that it's between two sub-watersheds, that it's difficult to separate in this area. And so we have 4 projects that we're looking to highlight tonight that we're going to run through. The first is at Washington and Addison, at the northeastern corner. There's some flooding along both the streets and in the yard. Previously, the village had raised the sidewalk to reduce the flooding, the stormwater from flowing over the sidewalk into the driveway and impacting the structure there. And then also in the side yard, there's a great amount of water that accumulates as well. And so at this location, you can see that along the street, we propose some bioretention areas on the left-hand side of the slide. Also, that's on Addison and also on Washington, both the north and south sides of the roadway. Some rain gardens areas also in the yard to the east of the home. There's a proposed rain garden as well. And this area receives about drainage from about 5 acres of property, so the water is flowing off of 5 acres into this area. We're going to utilize bioretention practices. With the bioretention areas that we proposed, is capable of treating up to 1.5 inches of rainfall before it discharges eventually into the, it will eventually be exceeded the practice, but it does hold the 1.5 inches of water for a good amount until after the peak of the storm. Just as a visual example, this is an example of existing conditions. For the practice, you would make curb cuts so that the water is able to flow into the practice, and then there was a depression area that's built so that the water can be stored there. And also, there's a retaining curb along the sidewalk because the ground will be lower at that point to make sure that no one inadvertently stumbles off the sidewalk, just as a safety precaution, putting a small wall there. It can either be left as turf grass and pretty easily maintained. It would probably be more efficient and serve more water quality purposes to have it vegetated. And so that's an example of how it can look with some flowers and vegetation in that depressed area. The next area along Washington Street from Illinois to Summit, there's been a great deal of flooding along the roadway in that area. And so for the practices, there's a chain of bioretention areas all along Washington Street to, again, handle the stormwater runoff. In this practice, it has about 3.5 acres of tributary area that's coming to that practice. The bioretention areas can be vegetated, and then for a 2-inch rainfall event is able to be handled by this proposed practice. And it also has the benefit that it's the possibility to disconnect the combined sewer from the runoff at this point. Next area is at Washington and Euclid at the northwestern corner of the intersection. There's a good deal of stormwater runoff that's coming down. About 9 acres is tributary to this area. And so there's been some unique practices to help control some of the flooding with some pumps and PVC pipes to pump the water out of there. There's concern for the impact of some of the stormwater, so there's sandbagging and tarping to prevent some of the water from entering structures. And so a proposed plan for this is to construct a depressed area to the rear of the yards on Euclid. It would be about 0.69 acre feet of storage, and it would provide storage to alleviate impacts up to the 10-year event. And also this practice could possibly disconnect some of this area from the combined sewer. Covered most of that. And then the final project is along Grant Street. There's about 7 acres that are tributary to Grant Street, so to alleviate some of this, the consultant has proposed permeable pavers along Grant Street, combined with some bioretention areas both on the north and south side of the street and also at the end of the street as well. There's some lots there that could potentially be utilized for some stormwater detention. And so it would hold about, treat the storage for about 2.5 inches of rainfall event of that first storm. And again, there could possibly be some disconnection from the combined sewer utilizing this practice. As a visual example, here's Grant Street now. It's set for paving as well, and so this might be a good time to utilize this practice. So with the existing conditions, put down the permeable paver with the subbase of stone. Then you can have the either turf grass edges, or you can plant it with some grasses or some flowering plants. Could add some nice aesthetics to the area. And just as some examples of projects that have been done in the past, in Charles City, Iowa, they have put down the sub-base stone and then come through and use machinery to place whole sections of the permeable pavers to get it done quickly at a lower cost. This was done in Carroll Stream, DuPage County, through our Water Quality Improvement Program grants. We helped to fund the Carroll Stream Recreation Center for their parking lot, and they utilized both the permeable pavers for the parking lot and then also some depressed areas for additional runoff storage. And so we're hoping that you like the general projects that we've proposed. We're looking to finalize the report over the next several weeks, and then we're going to coordinate the report with the recommendations that are in the village's recently completed flood control studies. And then whatever recommendations are selected, we can finalize the scope of work that's needed for those, and then with the county and the village, we'll work jointly to iron out intergovernmental agreements to see if there's some cost sharing or agreements can be made for design, the financing, and the construction of the projects. So if you have any questions on any of that, either now, my information's there, but you feel free to either ask now or yes.
Sure. Trustee Aiello.
When they do the pavers for the streets, you can't run a blade over that anymore, do you?
For the pavers.
For snow plowing.
Snow plowing.
Still, it seems to me that, I mean, I know, I have several clients that do that, and homeowners won't want those blades over their surfaces that are paper-based. So is there something else they can grab, like we have one truck that's able to hit those roads, maybe that's on like down in Denver you'll see where they've got a spinning, sweeping thing.
We'll need to have you come up to the mic. And we also have Vitas Jaskalis, our Director of Public Works. So we'll kind of mic share here. So
right now, the
people at
only
home can't
street
hear.
that is being considered for the permeable pavers is Grant Street, which is a dead-end street.
Right.
So we don't use a full dump truck on it anyway. It's one of our dead ends, so we would be using a smaller truck anyway. So we can adjust the type of blade if needed for that. But that's one of the reasons Grant was such an attractive option, is because it is a dead end.
And just
You can identify yourself. for the
Charles
record.
City, the project that was shown was put in 3 years ago, and then Carbon Cliff in Illinois, in the Quad Cities area, was another place where multiple permeable paving streets were installed, and they use the same plowing equipment that they use on all the other
Just
streets.
blade salted, no problem.
Right. The thing you have to be careful of is, in some communities, particularly Charles City, because they're further north, and they use sand actually a lot, and you can't use sand because that will plug the openings, and so you want to limit it to more salt and rather than sand. Or if you're going to use abrasives, to look at using coarser material rather than the typical sand that's used that has a lot of fines in it that will plug it up.
That's interesting. Okay.
We need you to state your name for the record. So
My name is Tom Price, and I'm with Conservation Design Forum, located in Elmhurst.
okay, great. Thank you. Okay, you're good right now. Okay, Trustee Kazone.
A couple of things. Have you guys estimated any costs on this whole project?
We do have preliminary cost estimates, but everything will be identified in the final report. And we are working with DuPage County to fund these projects. There is funding available through a grant program, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, we need you to come up to the mic. Yeah.
I'm the Chief Engineer for DuPage County
Stand in front of it,
Stormwater
so-
Management.
Thank you.
And I work with Rob, and we work hand in hand with communities, much like Villa Park and Vitas. And one of the things that we want to note is that Villa Park was a very active and very aggressive, politely aggressive community when it came time for the disaster recovery funds. And so that's the HUD disaster recovery funds that Vitas was just alluding to. And one of the things that we were able to put into our initial disaster recovery funds was up to $1 million to fund Villa Park green infrastructure projects. And that was essentially because Vitas raised his hand, and we have very good proponents in this district. We have county board representation here, Mr. DeCiani who is actually part of our Stormwater Committee for a very long time, and is now part of the Development Commission at DuPage County Stormwater Management, at DuPage County, and he also made it a point to make sure that communities like Villa Park were included in our disaster recovery funds. And so we have essentially $1 million set aside out of the $25 million that is for green infrastructure funding just for Villa Park.
Interesting. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does, thank you.
yeah,
And one other question, the lifetime of the pavers versus regular pavement, do we know that at all?
Yeah, really, the bricks themselves will last, almost indefinitely. It's the concrete, typical street pavement, poured-in-place concrete is in the range of 4,000 or 5,000 psi. That's compressive strength. This, because they're made in the factory, they're much harder, 8,000 psi. So the bricks themselves are very strong, and really comes down to how you design the base. And so we typically design them for a 50-year life.
Thank you.
And just to tag on to that, in addition to some residents that have permeable pavement driveways, we have a business in town, Dominic's Pizza on St. Charles Road. They built a parking lot that has permeable pavers, and then our police department right across the street, as a part of their LEED certification, they also have a permeable pavement parking lot. So we do have some examples already in Villa Park of those
Right. And Villa,
things.
Give you some credit, Villa, the police station was really one of the earliest.
I need you to come back up. Sorry. Don't be shy. Come
One
on
of the
up.
early,
Bye.
the police station was one of the earliest installations in the
Yes.
region, and we were fortunate enough to be able to work on that project
Yes,
as well.
yes, back in 2004. So, right. Thank
And
you.
it was partially funded through DuPage County as well.
Okay, great. Good to know. Okay.
And the state of
Thank you. Trustee Kazone, are you good?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? On this side, how about? To the right? No? Anybody else to the left? Deep thought here? Okay, I guess one of my questions in regards to the permeable pavement for Grant, do we have any ideas of what that would cost if we did that street with permeable pavers? Do we have any idea?
Well, we identified...
Without pinning us down with,
Well,
you know.
we identified, I believe, the difference in cost between what we were planning to do and the pavers is about $200,000. That's the difference in cost.
Okay, because it is slated for, to be, grind and overlaid
Right.
this year.
Right, so no, we put that on hold until a final decision is made on whether
Okay.
to proceed with the permeable pavers or not.
Okay, all right. Well, hopefully, if we can do it with permeable pavers, we can take some of the funds that we were going to allocate to Grant and maybe put it towards some other street projects too. Hopefully, we'll see how all the numbers play out. So,
Madam
okay.
President, I have one
Yes,
question.
okay. Trustee Wagner.
So I'm assuming that these projects are going to come back to us for our approval once they, yes.
Well, the intergovernmental agreements would have to be executed by both the county board and the village board before these projects can move forward.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, Trustee
Yes,
Aiello.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
haven't followed.
We're
Sometimes
up here
I'm a
talking
little slow
about
on
it.
the uptake.
It's okay.
Either
We're up here talking about it.
200,000 higher or lower?
Higher.
Okay. I was assuming higher, but just making sure.
Someday it'll be lower.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes. Villa Park is painfully aware of the flooding issues. We have a couple folks in the audience here that have had issues with flooding, so, among everybody else in town, so.
But basically, the intent of this is to reduce the amount of water going into the combined sewer system.
Right.
And when we do finally come up with a plan to separate Washington Street, what hopefully it'll mean is smaller storm sewers and a lower cost project. And in the meantime, it will be providing immediate benefits in lesser frequency of combined sewer overflow. That's the goal.
Okay.
Perfect. That is excellent justification for the extra 200 grand. So I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like the look.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, anything else? So our next steps are then, where do we go from here?
We would be coming back to the board with an intergovernmental agreement.
That would be it
I
then.
believe
Okay.
around August.
Sorry. So the folks at home can hear you and see you.
I would anticipate an intergovernmental agreement would actually probably be back to Villa Park's board probably in September.
Okay.
DuPage County only has one meeting. DuPage County Stormwater Management only has one meeting in August, and that's our next meeting. And we'll have a lot of stuff on the agenda at that point.
Okay.
And then we'll be working with our state's attorney as well as your council to get all of this lined out and to get the the funding mechanisms lined out specifically as they relate to HUD.
Okay. All righty. Okay. September will be here before we know it. So.
Yes, it will.
Yikes.
It will.
It's already June. Oh. Okay. Anybody else before we
Just want to say
close it
thank
down?
you for letting Villa Park be part of this green infrastructure program. So appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on up. Don't be shy.
This is a real unique opportunity. The mayors, your board, have fought for this federal money, and the county is a facilitator of the dollars. So it's a great opportunity for us to identify projects in our local communities that could realize these dollars. And because of your mayor and your manager, I remember those press conferences that we did in 2013 and 2010 when we had 2 FEMA declarations almost back to back within 3 years. So those were tough times. But the nice thing is we've got federal dollars coming to actually fix some of the problems rather than just fixing the homes and waiting for the next storm. So hopefully we can take advantage of these opportunities and work together. So you've got a board member in your corner looking to bring home dollars. We just last week funded the lift station project off of North Avenue in Villa, so it was almost $500,000. It was a great partnership there too. I believe that was a HUD-funded project as well through the county. So we're looking for as many opportunities as we can to help Villa Park out.
We appreciate the fact you're scraping up some funds on the county level to help Villa Park.
Absolutely.
You have many municipalities within the DuPage County umbrella. So.
That's why we're here. So
Yeah,
thank you, and
so-
we have great staff to back us up. So as you can see, so thank you, Sarah.
Mr. DeCiani.
Appreciate it, Robert.
Very much. Yes. Okay. Anybody else? We good? Clear on next steps? All righty then. Thank you again for your time. We really appreciate this. We look forward to where we go from here. So, okay, great. Thank you. All right. Moving on to item number 7 on the committee of the whole. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there,
Would we have an opportunity to ask questions or make some remarks?
What do you think?
So, if committee to whole, yes,
well,
you can.
if you'd like, yes. You can, but I need you to come to the mic. So I was thinking maybe if this would be agenda items, but if you'd like to speak now, 'cause it's going to take us a while to get to agenda items.
I'll be as brief as possible.
We need you to state your name.
I'm Patrick O'Connor. That was my house that you saw with the black door and the
Okay.
sandbags. And I've been sandbagging and pumping and doing all sorts of things for over 50 years at that location.
Wow.
In fact, Ms. Bullwinkle, you were parked in front of my house
I saw it.
a couple years back, and you said, we got to do something about this.
Yes, I did.
Well, I appreciate that you're doing it.
Well, thank you.
I probably should have come and asked you to do it 45 years ago. But problem
I
is,
was born, but I was only 2 at the time.
All right.
So, but
Problem
I would have
is-
done my best then too.
yeah, the problem is,
Yeah.
I need relief now. I'm 79 years old. I've raised my family and loved it, except for the water in the basement. And I need relief now so that I can get rid of the 5-bedroom house. My 11 kids are gone.
Wow.
And it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful.
So you took care of
But
one
now I
thing,
got
now
to
we're
get
gonna
rid
get-
of this house
gonna
because
get
I
her
was
done
just
another
over at a seminar that Representative Conroy put on over in Glendale Heights
Yeah.
regarding real estate taxes.
Yes.
So I do appreciate that you're taking steps, but I hope that we need to do something now.
Yes.
I hope that will come forth because I can't handle the water anymore. I'm too old to carry that big pump
Well,
and bail out my yard. And thank you very
I was
much.
parked there. I saw it for myself. It was
I
pretty
really
unbelievable.
look forward to some
Well, thank you.
immediate help.
I know you know how to get a hold of me, but I'll give you my card again, so you don't have to
Okay.
dig
Don
around.
Case knows my house.
Yes. Okay, we'll hold that up there for you. So, yes, yes, yes. Go ahead, Trustee Case.
Mr. O'Connor, or can I call you PJ like I used to call you?
You may.
I used to live next door to him, so I know when I first moved in, I thought I had a miniature Salt Creek running across my house. It was brutal. I agree.
I understand from a neighbor on the other side from you who was there in the 20s, Louis Ventura, he told me that there used to be a creek back in there, and that those 9 acres that are running through 546, where I am, somehow involved that creek. I've never understood it.
Yeah. Well, I know we put a Band-Aid on it before when I was there.
Well, I built a dike. My sons built a dike, and then I sandbagged where the dike ends to the street. And
I saw it all.
Yes, you did.
Backing you up 100%.
Well, keep them busy, Case, please.
We're busy, all right.
I miss you as a neighbor anyway.
Yeah. We have some other folks, since we're talking with the residents, and we have a few here. Anybody else from the area would like to say anything? Oh, you can, yes, you have to come up to the podium. That's okay. It's okay.
My name is Bill Smith. I'm at 234 East Washington.
You're on the corner there.
Right on the
I
corner
remember,
there.
yeah.
PJ, I can see him right through my driveway there. So we chat all the time. Question I had was regarding the retention ponds back there. How are we going to speak with the other neighbors where those ponds are going to be located and get their permission for it? Has there been thought about that?
Well, I'm looking to staff to see if they've had any conversations about that internally. Because definitely communication is going to be key. Vitas Giscalis, our Director of Public Works, stepping forward.
Basically, we'll have to negotiate easement rights from all private properties that will be affected. And
Okay.
hopefully that can be done on a voluntary basis. That'd be the ideal way.
Well, the first thing is to investigate if we have utility easements, too. Most properties have the back 5 feet as utility easements. In some areas, we'll have to investigate that, in which case we would have the right to proceed as on the basis of utilities. So there's a lot of homework to be done.
Okay. I have one more
Sure,
question,
sure,
too.
please.
One initial proposal I saw as well had right behind that one drain that showed on one of those pictures there, that's on my property there. There was an initial proposal for that drain to connect going east down Washington Street and connect to another drain that's connected directly to a storm sewer.
Okay.
Is that still a proposal at this point, or is it just the retention pond at this point?
Well, I'm looking at Vitas again, our Director of Public Works.
Well, if I'm trying to recall
I remember that
correctly, the
conversation.
nearest storm sewer is on Villa Avenue currently. However, if we can implement the Burke recommendations, then there would be a future storm sewer on Washington and on Monterey. So it all depends on how all the pieces fit together ultimately, where this would tie into. So
Okay.
right now it's strictly conceptual. Until we actually get into design, we're not sure 100% where it will outlet.
Okay.
That'll have to be flushed out during the design process.
Okay.
Because I think that that storm sewer did come down a little bit further.
We'll need to have come in front of the mic here, sorry.
That storm sewer did come down a little bit further when they were doing that work on Villa, on Washington, and it ended a couple blocks. I'm trying to think, a couple blocks east of Euclid over there.
Okay.
Because there was a property that used to drain the water. They had a pump that went down there, and the city did do something just, I think last year, where they directly connected into that end of that storm sewer.
Okay. Yeah.
That's correct. That's
I
one of the
remember that.
concept alternatives that we looked at.
Yep.
That will be looked at again, as will other alternatives.
And again. Okay.
Just one more
Sure,
question.
sure.
Do we have any idea, I know we have to have the intergovernmental agreement of when possibly work might start on all these projects, not just mine, but everyone else's as well?
Yeah. Timeline, that's a loaded question, just, everybody's looking at each other, because I'm not honestly sure what the timeline would be. So.
Actually, the
We got
grant,
you back in.
the grant, as everything, money rules, and the grant will be the driving force. There's an environmental review, and we need a little more documentation than what was just done in the preliminary design. So when we start with the actual project design, we'll be able to do that concurrently with the environmental review, and we send that through HUD. And I'm sure it's not delightful news, but I would assume probably in 6 months, so first thing this spring, when we have thaw, is when we can start construction.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
for
you
that.
very much.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging in there. The water there is amazing. You probably never thought you'd have waterfront property in the front and the back. You have pretty much your house is a moat. Yeah. Okay. Is there anybody else? I know this is a tough topic, but while we have it on the docket here, so you don't have to wait later to say anything. Oh, good. Anybody else from the board? Okay, Trustee Case, before we
I
move
don't know
on.
who can answer this question, but these retention ponds, I'm not too fond of them. Well, what's with all these mosquitoes and
Well, yeah. Do you have a question associated with that, or just?
mosquitoes?
Right.
Retention ponds.
We actually do treat
I don't know,
them.
we have a mosquito person here, or?
Well, we do treat the mosquitoes. Maybe you could speak to that.
The basins that were designed, all the ones that were shown wouldn't be permanent bodies of water. They'd only have water during the rainstorm, and then they would drain out, in the next day or so.
Okay.
So they wouldn't be like a pond, like a permanent pond. So mosquitoes and that sort of thing shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
Where does it go to? It's been coming through my basement. Well, I've had 48 inches, I've had 54 inches.
Yeah.
And I had lost track of many hours.
Sure. In terms of where the water would go to, the basin essentially is there to hold the water temporarily and then to let it out slowly through
He has to talk to the mic.
Nope.
So
Well, we
it's
need you to look at the
basically
mic,
storing-
sir.
It's still going to store just like it does now, but it's not in your basement and it's stored in that back area.
But there is no storm.
Sir, we need you to look at the mic and.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
And we
there.
can get the two of you together afterwards. Well,
Later.
Well, maybe,
Later.
sir. Can we get?
Yeah, I was showed retention running along my neighbors to the north at the back of their lots. They would have to agree to give up an easement, and then that retention area would be made. But there's no storm sewer on Euclid, so I don't know where that water is going to go to,
Well, that's what we need to. That's what we need
other
to
than
figure
where
out.
it's been going.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to prevent that from happening in the future. So.
Well, we got to try a little harder.
Yeah, well, we're working. We're here tonight talking about it, so it's a good first step towards that direction. So, would you mind would you mind talking together separately, unless you have any other
Sure.
questions? So,
Yeah,
because
thank
he's going to be here for a little while, so
Sure.
you can get some one-on-one with him if you'd like. So, okay. Anybody else? One last time. Okay. Thank you very, very much. We hear you. We hear you. Okay. Yes. Glad you could be here tonight with us. Okay. Item number 7 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the number of liquor licenses. Manager King?
Thank you, Your Honor. The Police Department was advised that the sale of J&J Foods located at 323 South Ardmore has been completed. The owner was contacted, and he confirmed that this location has been sold and will begin operations as Ardmore Station Liquors No. 2. This now reduces the number of Class D liquor licenses issued within the Village of Villa Park to 8. It is recommended that Section 3-313A of the Village Code be modified to reflect this reduction. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Okay. Questions and comments from the board? Just readjusting back down to the original number. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Abstain.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay. Item number 8 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider an ordinance, the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, allowing native plantings in yards of single-family dwellings subject to certain regulations. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. At the request of the Village Board, staff has prepared an ordinance that would permit the cultivation of native plants and landscaping anywhere within the front, side, or rear yards of single-family parcels within the village. Also included in the ordinance are guidelines for approval, inspections, maintenance, and signage of locations that wish to have native landscaped yards. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All righty. We've made some adjustments. We've been talking about this for quite a while, and some adjustments have been made to the ordinance that is before us. And I'm looking over at Patrick Grill, our Director of Community Development, who can come forward and kind of explain what's different, what's changed since the last time we had this conversation. So.
Well, what has changed is we have clarified exactly where you can put the native landscaping plantings in your yard. We have clarified the document that you use to identify native plants, and if the board chooses to move forward with this evening, you can say that this will become the landscape Bible for the village. It's a fairly voluminous document that highlights all the different native plantings to this area of Illinois that could be utilized. In addition, we've taken out any reference to identifying homes on our website. We still have in there sign if you choose to do this. And we also have changed the person who identifies whether or not there's any weeds as a landscape professional, not a certified arborist or anything like that, just somebody who knows about landscaping and who can identify plants. So that's the changes that have been made, and if there's any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Okay. We'll first toss it out to the public, now that you've given us that quick little update. See if there's anybody from the public has any questions or comments about this particular item before we toss it up here. Okay. Toss it up to the board now. Anybody from the board have anything? Oh, Trustee Wagner?
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate the effort that staff's put into this. I think there's lots of protections in here. The fact that a plan has to be submitted, has to be reviewed, a professional has to examine the property, make sure there's no noxious weeds. I hope that the board will support this because I think this is really kind of something for the future, and it would be good that for Villa Park to kind of lead the way. I think that the people that are going to participate in this initially will be small, but I think there's lots of protections in here so that it doesn't get to be an unruly or something that we don't want to see in our village. And I think that once again there's lots of protections here, and I hope that the board will support this, and I do. I support it.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Wagner. Okay, Trustee Gazone.
There are no height restrictions in the ordinance, are there, on the height of plants that can grow?
No, there is no height restriction. If it's a permitted plant as identified in plants of the Chicago region, they could use that. Now, what the ordinance does have in it is the requirement that it be cut to a height of no greater than 8 inches.
10.
Once a 10 inches in the fall and in the spring. So every year it'll have to be cut to at least 10 inches. But in terms of how tall the plant can be during the other times, there is no limit.
Okay. And if we have a lot of, say, complaints from neighbors, do we have any kind of remedy for that? I know I think it's a good thing ecologically, but I know that there are a lot of people that are not real keen on having these kinds of plants on their neighboring yards. So, I think Trustee Wagner is correct. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be doing this to begin with. But and it's probably a good thing, like I say, for the ecology of the community. But I think there's a lot of people that don't like that, and we just have to make sure that their wishes are looked at too.
Well, unfortunately, if this is implemented and someone chooses to submit a plan and the plan meets the guidelines as recommended in the ordinance, and the neighbor is unhappy with the way it looks, I'm not going to be able to do anything for him, unfortunately. The only thing I can do is verify whether or not there's any noxious weeds in there. But if the plantings that are in there conform to the identification in this book, there won't be anything I can do to address their concerns about height or the way it looks.
Okay, good? Okay, anybody else? Trustee Bolfus.
Yeah, I had trouble with this right from the get-go when we first started talking about this. As it is right now, you can have native plantings in your front yards in defined beds. So there's nothing different here. The difference is that
right now you have to have defined beds, and you could have walkways. They don't have, between them doesn't have to be grass. It could be, some other landscape covering. But this would be the whole yard could be covered in these plants. And then we also have the thing with staff having to monitor this to whatever extent, time consuming. We've already spent a lot of time on this, staff has, and I require inspections and then notices if they're not, following the rules. It's just more work for staff who already has more work than plenty of work to do. We already have people who basically have native landscapings in their backyards because they don't cut them. They just let the stuff grow. Front yards too. We can walk down and see we're busy trying to enforce just people mowing their lawns, and now we're going to have to enforce this. So, and the time that's spent with it. Then you have the height thing. How high can these plants get? I don't know how high some of these. It's in your book there somewhere. But so then you got it could be high. We have some now who have high grasses in defined beds. It look very, very nice that they do it. Looks good. I don't have any trouble with that. But it's just I don't see why we want to change anything. So I'm not in favor of this at all. Just keep doing it the way we are. You can have the native plants. Just put them in a defined bed. No problem. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Case.
Well, I already was involved with a resident in town who thought that native planting was passed already, but he doesn't have native planting. He has grass that's 3 feet high. So
yeah, this isn't what that is.
This is an issue with me. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I could tell high grass from plants, so I don't know how we're going to enforce this.
Not gonna.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to, once again, reiterate that there's lots of protections in here. Staff has been careful to do that. And I would like to suggest that maybe if people have reservations about this, if trustees have reservations, maybe we could put like a provision that we could review this again in 2 years and to see if the program is successful or not, if there have been all kinds of violations. I'd like to think that we are willing to accept diversity of people who have different approaches to landscaping the yards as opposed to just turf grass. And you can go on and on about why turf grass is not natural to this area and why all the fertilizers and water we use on them is unnecessary. So I think there's a lot of work has gone into this. I think the people that will want to do this are going to be careful and follow the rules because because they believe in this. And I think that maybe having some sort of sunset provision or a provision in the ordinance that says this is subject to review by the village board in 2 years, and let's see if this is successful or not.
Well, and speaking to that, I'd mentioned to both the manager and to Patrick Grill, perhaps we could maybe something similar to that in terms of doing it as a pilot project or phase 1, give it a season, and let's see. If it's completely out of control, then we scale it back, we bring it back, and then we talk about what do we need to do to tweak it, refine it, whatever needs to be done at that point. So I don't know how staff or even the board would feel about that. It's just trying it just as a pilot, maybe for 1 year, 1 season. I don't know about 2 years, but I don't know if 1's enough, 2 might be too much, I don't know. But
I think that you'd have to do it for 2 years because this takes time to do. It takes time to plan.
Okay.
It takes time to do the planning. So I'd like to make an amendment to this ordinance that it's subject to review in 2 years, just to see how successful the program is.
So is that
That's my amendment to
Yeah.
these ordinance.
You have to make,
And hope
you
someone
have to
will
put a
second
motion out there for that then?
Well, we're not doing the ordinance, we're just whether or not.
We're just
go
talking,
forward.
okay.
So we will do it.
Because it is a first reading on the formal, yeah. So, how do we feel about that? Because it does appear as a first reading, just a first reading on the formal, so. Trustee Bolfus.
With all due respect to Trustee Wagner, I disagree. If once you put it in effect, in 2 years' time come up and you decide it's not working, you're gonna go back to these people and tell them, hey, you know, your data plan, you gotta tear it out now. Is there a grandfather thing and they put it in while the ordinance was in effect? And if you take it away, do they continue to be able to have that? I think they are, you know, in my opinion. So I disagree with, you know, I think we should either vote this up or vote it down. As far as the pilot program, I don't see how we're ever going to go back and tell somebody, you know, we rescinded that ordinance, you have to take this out now.
Well, we would tell them up front, you know.
That sounds good,
So, well-
but it doesn't work that way in the real world, in my opinion, so.
Well, our community development team, you know, they
Yeah,
would be,
then you could
they would
possibly,
be out
even
there.
if somebody really wanted to be nasty, they
talking
could
with
have a
them.
lawsuit. They could sue us. Hey, you told us we could do it back in 2015. You can't change your mind now. We have it in, we get to keep it.
It would be clearly stated as a pilot or phase one or whatever if we decide to do that, so. But,
So, in
okay.
my opinion, we shouldn't do it. so.
Okay. Anybody else? Trustee Tagley, did you want to say anything?
Nope.
or-
No, I'm good.
Anybody else? Okay, Trustee Aiello.
You know, I like the idea, but on the native plantings, it seems odd to me though. It seems like typical government bureaucracy where we pass an ordinance to do something you can already do. So I agree with the enforcement mechanisms would be extra burden on the village. Anybody that really
adhere
wants
to
to
that.
do this can do it now. They can make their bed a little bigger. If they wanted to cover more of their yard, I just don't see a need for it. So for that reason, I wouldn't support it.
Okay.
Although I like the plants, I like the idea.
Yeah, I have native
And I
plants around the
appreciate the
house.
preservation of
That's
the
around the
lawn
house,
that's gonna suck it.
outside.
Right.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, then we're going to do a roll call vote on the existing item that's on the agenda, so. Okay. Yes, we're ready.
Okay, Trustee Kazone?
No.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
No.
Trustee Aiello?
No.
Trustee Bolfus?
No.
Trustee Case?
No.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes, if it was a pilot program, so, yes. Okay, but it fails, so. Okay, thank you, though, to staff for all the time you put in, and to the board for all the consideration. I know there's a lot to think about, concerns about maintenance and upkeep and violation notices, all the things that we've already talked about, so. Appreciate the consideration from the staff and the board, so. So then when we get to the formal then,
You'll have a motion, no one will make a motion,
and then it'll die.
and then
Okay.
it'll die for lack of a motion.
So we don't have to remove it now or anything like that. Okay, all right. So then we're going to move on to item number 9 on the committee of the whole. Consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the sale of by public auction of personal property owned by the village, a 1983 asphalt roller. And it looks like the year 1983. It's a Bomag roller, model BW120AD, VIN number 99159 for those of you who want to know. And the minimum bid would be $1,000. So it's because we recently replaced it with a new one. So here we are, back to the 1980s, but we're getting rid of the 1980s now. Okay, any questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Come on up. How you doing? You know the drill.
I know the drill.
Yeah. Of course, state your name. Thank you for signing
Ooh,
our
a
piece of paper
purple
up there for the
pen,
record.
wow.
So. Okay. So.
Cheryl Tucker, 434 South Cornell.
Yes, what's on your mind?
I want to know what changed from February 23rd, when we approved the 2015 new roller, to today, because according to February 2015, we were going to keep it as a backup. That was what we were told, that we was going to be, we'd get the new one, and then the older one was going to be used as a backup so that we could have more projects going on at the same time.
Okay, well, we'll see if something occurred between then and now. If it conked out, or what the situation is. So we've got Vitas Giscalis, our Director of Public Works.
Well, we decided
what's
we
the
don't
plan?
need it as a backup. I mean,
Oh.
practical matter is we can only have one asphalt crew out at any given time with all the
Okay.
forestry work we have, so it's impossible to do both. So we decided to sell it now rather than later because we think we can get a better price for it during construction season rather than waiting after construction season. So that's why we're presenting it now.
Would we ever need a backup, though, in case for some reason our new one were to be out of service for whatever reason?
I hope we
or-
don't have a
I
brand
mean, I don't
new-
want to put the jinx out there, but I mean, while we're talking about it, would there be any reason to need it as a backup?
There's really not that much that can go wrong with the roller, and
Wow.
unless you roll over something you shouldn't. And I hope we
Well,
don't do
we
anything
just-
like that.
But you never know. I mean, with mechanical equipment.
Yeah. It's a
Trustee
it's a
Bolfus knows that
1983
very well.
model. We-
So-
Our mechanics approached this as, you could probably get a lot more money for it by selling it now rather than later, and we thought it was a good idea. So
Okay.
that's why we're presenting it now.
Okay. Well, we wouldn't be able to afford a new one since we just bought one in
Right,
February.
we
so
do have the new one. It's
So, okay. So, yeah.
usable.
All right, so we wouldn't be buying a new one later just to
No,
replace
no,
the
no.
old one. So we
One-
have to-
one is
okay.
plenty.
Yep, okay, all right.
We shouldn't need two if we're going to have all new streets anyway.
Well, that's another thing, yes.
Okay.
That's the idea eventually.
go.
They last
Let's
a
hope
long
not.
time. This one's 30
Still gonna have
years old.
patching, but hopefully we won't. You're right, Trustee Case.
We also have the hot boxes, too.
Yes. Okay. All right. Anybody else from the public in regards to this item? No? Okay. How about the board? Anything else? Any questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay, item number 10, consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving prevailing wage. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The Village of Villa Park is required each June to either adopt the Illinois Department of Labor prevailing wage rates or conduct their own investigation into prevailing wages in the area. Prevailing wages are utilized for public contracts which reflect general labor rates for DuPage County. It is recommended a joint resolution is once again adopted with School District 45, 48, 88, and the Villa Park Library. The Department of Labor posted June 2015 prevailing wages on their website, and a notice of these rates will be jointly made with the other government bodies in a newspaper of general circulation for a cost of approximately $100. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions and comments from the public in regard to this item? Anybody? Okay. Questions and comments from the board? We good? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay. Item number 11 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Villa Park and the Village of Addison for the Harvard Avenue widening and resurfacing project. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The village, in cooperation with the Village of Addison, wishes to proceed with pavement improvements on Harvard Avenue from Armitage Avenue to the south end. Villa Park and Addison share jurisdiction of the Harvard Avenue right-of-way and have worked together to design and bid a project which consists of the widening and resurfacing of the pavement. Villa Park's share of the cost of this work would be $77,552.47. An intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Addison is needed to proceed with the work. Because this agreement is for a pending construction project, staff will be requesting formal action this evening. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Okay. How about the board? No questions? All good? Clear? Okay. Okay, I think my question was answered. All right, we'll do a roll call vote then.
Okay, Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay, item number 12 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, rejecting all bids received for the 2015 concrete flat work program. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The village participated in a joint bidding process for the 2015 concrete flat work program. The bids received under the joint bid program were considerably higher than expected. Public Works staff believes that Villa Park can obtain a more favorable bid prices by rebidding the program independently of the other municipalities. A formal rejection of the bids received under the joint bid program is recommended before proceeding with rebidding of the work. Because staff wishes to proceed with rebidding of this work as soon as possible, staff will be requesting final action at this board meeting. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the public in regards to this item? Okay, how about the board? Trustee Kazone.
Mr. Keener, how long would it take to rebid and get the bids in?
Do you want to be director?
Director of Public Works.
We would be advertising a week from Friday, opening bids 14 days after, and then putting it on the next board agenda after that.
Okay. So we still have enough time to get it out.
We have plenty of time.
Okay. And if the bids come back higher, are we still able to get back into the with the other municipalities?
Once we reject bids, no.
No,
But after discussing it with the other municipalities that have participated in the joint bidding process, I believe more than a majority of the municipalities are doing the same thing we are.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody else? Anyone else? Okay. Looks like the lowest bid that came in was around $52,854 and some change. And it looks like the engineer's estimate, which had accounted for significant increases over previous years, kind of already built in the fluff, came in closer to $47,022 and some change. So looks like we want to go back and see if we can get it closer, not under bid or under budget, as long as we can get it done for that price. So prices have been going up anyway, so, okay. All right, this is according to a memo that the board received. All right, go ahead and do a roll call vote on that then.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes, okay, we're gonna convene to the formal agenda now. Didn't take too long. We haven't met in a while. It's been almost a month, so lots going on. Okay, on the formal agenda, first item on the formal agenda is Village President's Report. I just have a couple things here. Residents, if you haven't received already, you will be receiving a utility bill that has been completely revamped and overhauled. I've got a copy of mine actually here. It's no longer a postcard. It's now coming in a number 10 envelope that will be duly noted utility service bill enclosed. This is not combined with the Salt Creek. This is just your water bill and garbage. So, but it's a easier to read format, at least we hope. It's been completely revamped. We received a lot of feedback from the residents who really didn't like the postcard format because it's just easy to get lost and it's harder to read. So we changed it up, and so if you haven't received it already, you will. And there's some information on our website that goes into a little more detail at www.invillapark.com under Villa Park News on the homepage. But if there's anything else that I didn't mention that staff would like to include, I see Kevin Wachtel here, who's our finance director. He sprung up out of his seat so he can share a little bit more.
Yeah, we're very excited about the new utility bills that are going out. One important thing that's changing, a couple things that are changing are with our bill processing. We're sending out one batch of bills. That means all of the bills throughout the whole town are going out at one time, so they'll all be due at the same time.
Okay.
So some residents will have a due date that's a little bit different or a little bit later in the month than they've seen in the past. We're also not going to be sending out a late notice. Typically, if somebody missed the payment deadline, they would be getting a late notice right after that and before their next bill. With the new process, there will not be a late notice right after the due date. That information will show up on their next bill as a past due amount. There'll still be some shut-off procedures that are going to be happening, but that will be explained on the bill, the timing, the deadlines, and that type of thing. So that late notice will not be happening. So it's important for folks to understand
Yeah.
that.
Hopefully that'll be in bold so they can see it.
There's
and know
infor-
if there's any.
On the back of the bill, there's more explanation as to the some of the specifics about the bill, where you can find information on the rates, the process, the days when they're doing that type of thing. So there's more room for us to explain that information. It's easier for folks to read and put stuffers in there,
Right.
like that explanation
Yes.
of bills.
There was a very detailed explanation, a 2-pager, in fact, front and back. So
One
hopefully
thing-
that answers questions, but you can always call staff if you have any questions.
One common question that we've been getting is people have been confused by what that stuffer is. That stuffer is a sample bill. It's not their specific bill. So it's not 2 bills that are coming in the envelope. It's just their bill and an
Okay.
explanation as to how to read your bill, what the format's like, what information is where on your bill. So
Okay. And then I've had some questions from residents in regards to why there wasn't a return envelope included with the bill.
We didn't have a return envelope. We know a lot of folks pay online or other methods. We haven't been providing them in the past with the postcards, and it did add a significant amount of cost to put in an envelope into the
That's what I
into the
figured.
envelope.
Yeah.
I've worked in other organizations where it is very expensive to do that, and you have to put an envelope in every single bill that goes out. It can't be selective for only those people who mail it back in. So it does cost a lot of money to do it that way.
And you mentioned that there's the online option too, which is good. So
Absolutely,
a number of residents ask about that.
people can pay online. They can also receive an electronic bill. There's information on our website on how to do that. That's the most effective but efficient way to do that. People can have their account or their bill taken out of their bank account on the due date. Makes it easier for them. Makes it easier for us. That's really the way we encourage folks to do that. So
Okay.
we're hoping to have people do that. They can avoid some deposits on the account when they're doing that if it's effective, and they keep the money in there, and we don't have any issues with missing a direct debit. So it's a good program all around.
Okay, terrific. And of course, if anybody has any questions, they can contact the staff at 630-834-8500 at Village Hall.
Absolutely,
So,
we
they'll
are
patch
happy
you
to
into
answer
the
any
right
questions people have.
Madam
direction
President?
there. Yes, Trustee
Might I
Paglia.
ask a question?
Sure.
Would it be possible to set up like automatic debit on your bill for the electronic payment?
Oh, that's an
Could you set that up? I mean,
Yeah.
could I set it up?
Yeah,
for
you
example?
do that. You have to go to the online bill processing, and you can set up your account that way, or you can call our staff.
Would it be possible to pick the day of the transaction? Because I know typically I'll pay all my bills at the end of the month. And
So
sometimes,
there are 2 ways to do it. If you have a direct debit, that's where we run it, and we run it on the due date. So we send an ACH file to our bank, and they go fetch the dollars from your bank account.
I guess that's my point. If there was a conflict with the due date and the actual date where it would be possible to make the transaction, is that something that, is that a possibility, or?
You would have to set that up through your bank's online bill payment process when you want to set that payment to go out.
Okay.
So in the past year or so, we've changed how we've done our online bill payment acceptance. In the past, it would be you'd go to your bank, set up a payment to the village for your utility bill. Your bank might wait for several bills to be batched together, and they would mail us a stack of checks. And it might pull money out of your account on the 10th of the month, and they might mail it to us on the 10th or the 15th or the 17th of the month, and then we'd get it on the 20th. And so there'd be a long lag. It would come out of your account of a week or so before we'd get it. We changed procedures, we changed processors where it comes out of your account on the 10th would come into our bank account much faster. So within a day or two, that transaction happens. So that would be something you'd have to set up if you want a specific date, the money to come out of your bank account. You'd have to set it up with your online bank.
Okay, I appreciate that. It's a little tricky for me. I get paid once a month, so it's kind of hard to manage.
Well, there might be some residents out there that have the same thing,
I get
so,
12 paid.
depending on when they get paid, so. Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, just a few more things. Just a little reminder that your grass clippings and wood chips, anything that you happen to be doing with your yard, please, if they end up in the street, please clean up the street. I was driving around this weekend, and there was a lot of landscaping going on, and a lot of wood chips and a lot of grass clippings were left in the street. So please, 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 because that ends up in the sewer, and then we end up having floods, and we don't need anything else to help us with flooding in Villa Park. We've talked about flooding. We're all very familiar with flooding. So please, 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 if you're doing the landscaping yourself as a resident, please clean up. And if you have hired a company to do it, please make sure that they know to clean up the clippings and all the other things that might end up in the street. We understand you might need to put it in the street to clean everything up, but make sure the final move is to clean it up out of the street as well. So greatly appreciate that. Also, just a reminder that we recently set up a system with our police department in regards to folks that might be purchasing things online through Craigslist, et cetera. We have established a safe place for people to go to complete those transactions. You can go to the police department lobby. If you're buying anything online or whatever it is that you're doing, please feel free to go to the police department lobby during their hours. I think it's 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. if I'm correct, to go ahead if you are looking for a safe place to go. It's a trend throughout municipalities, and more doing it. So I'm happy that we have that online and ready to go. And if you have any questions, we have more information about this on our website as well at www.invillapark.com, or you can call the police for additional information, 630-834-7447. That's the non-emergency number. So glad to provide that to the residents. And then finally, just a reminder that Public Works has rain barrels for sale. We've had a lot of rain lately, and so if you can capture the rain, if you don't already have a rain barrel, we can set you up with one or two or however many you want. They're available for sale for $75 each, and I'm presuming we still have some available through Public Works. I think it's a program that we started, a number of years ago through the Conservation Foundation. So if you have any other questions or need more information about that program, you can contact Public Works, 630-834-8505. Okay. That is all that I have under my report. So I'm going to move on to item number 2, public comments on agenda items. This is in regards to the formal agenda, items 4 and 5. On the formal, if you have anything on your mind, come on up. If you want to speak on non-agenda items, that will be item number, let's see, what item number is that for non-agenda? That'll be number 8. But now this is on agenda items. Items 4 and 5. So 1 and 7.
Let's see. 7.
Let's see. 5, 6, 7. Yep. I'm sorry. 4 through 7. You're right. That's all good. 8 is non-agenda. Sorry about that. Yep.
Okay, my question is, if you
Including the
pass
consent.
this tonight, how quickly is it going to go into effect?
Pass.
Because
Pass what
this is
tonight?
already happening.
what
Line
are
number
you-
3.
What are you referring to on the
According to policy 3 on this.
Which?
On 7, on the agenda on the.
Item number
So,
7?
Yeah, the conditional
Okay.
use for the rental.
We just want
part.
to make sure we know what you're talking about on the agenda. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Item number 7.
According to what was put together May 14th of 2015 for that, the first statement says the truck rental is to be limited to the parking behind the building. If you notice the picture you're giving, the rental vehicle is right in front by North Avenue. You all have that in your packet. And part 3 says no parking of vehicle with signage should be permitted in front of the building along North Avenue. He has signage both on his auto dealership mentioning the rental stuff. It's listed right there, and he's got the trucks parked right out in front on North Avenue. So if you approve this, does that mean tomorrow he has to get it corrected? Because right now he's already in violation of what it was brought up May 14th.
That's North Avenue. Got a couple here, yeah. Would staff like to respond to that? Oh, Patrick Grill, our Director of Community Development, again sprung up out of his chair to see if we can shed some light on this subject, so.
It's gone. It's no longer there. It's been addressed.
Okay. So these pictures then. Okay. All right.
The pictures that were included in your packet were pictures that were taken for the Planning and Zoning Commission.
For the previous
Staff didn't
meeting,
feel
okay.
it was necessary to go out and take another set of photos after the Plan Commission made their recommendation.
Oh, okay. So we won't see anything out there now then.
No, and in fact, the ordinance is pretty specific in that he will not be allowed to put his vehicles out there.
Okay, good.
It's
Sorry.
gone. It's not there.
Okay. And if for some reason it is, we'll take care of it. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
We'll give him a notice, and
Okay.
just like anybody else who violates the code.
But if it's gone, it's gone. All right, great. Thank you for that update. All right, anybody else on agenda items? Which goes through item 7. No? We good? Okay. Then we are going to move on to item number 3, under the formal, amendments to the formal agenda. Does any board member have any amendments? Yes. Trustee Aiello.
That's what I want to amend. That
What do you
part.
want to amend?
I want to amend this consent agenda to take item G, 4G, off the consent agenda and make it a separate item due to a conflict.
Okay. Well,
So moved.
please.
So, that's so moved.
So moved.
Okay. So we'll make that a separate item then.
Yes, for a second.
Do we need a second, though?
Madam
Second.
President?
Okay.
Yeah,
You
wow.
guys want to
Never
arm
mind.
wrestle down there?
Never
for-
mind that.
Second.
Okay, trustee Bolfus. All right. Do we need to do a roll call on this one?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do a roll call just for the record.
Okay, trustee Aiello,
Yes.
trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone,
Yes.
trustee Taglia,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Case,
Yes.
President Bowie.
Yes. Okay. Any other
Madam
changes?
President,
Yes.
what do we do at item 5? The native planning.
When that comes up, there'll be no, it's a separate motion. I would recommend that
just
when
let it
the
die.
chair calls for a motion, no one make it because we know the outcome.
Yep, just let it die.
Thank you.
That's why we didn't do anything with it before.
Got it.
Right.
Okay?
You know how this sounds.
Anybody else?
Let's revote.
Any other changes? Okay, all right. Then move on to item number 4, the consent agenda, A through K, omitting G. We'll make that a separate item. We'll do that after the consent agenda. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to read the headings for the record. A, bill listing dated May 26, 2015. We haven't had a board meeting in a while, about a month. 1 of 2, in the amount of $457,588.91. Bill listing dated May 26, 2015, 2 of 2, in the amount of $380,115.27. C, bill listing dated June 8, 2015, 1 of 2, in the amount of $387,268.61. D, bill listing dated June 8, 2015, 2 of 2, in the amount of $1,200,951.36. E, minutes from Village COW meeting from May 11th, 2015. F, minutes from the Village formal board meeting for May 11th, 2015, skipping G. H, first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the sale of public auction of personal property owned by the village, the 1983 asphalt roller. I, resolution of the Village Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving prevailing wage. J, resolution of the Village Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing intergovernmental agreement between the Village Villa Park and the Village of Addison for the Harvard Avenue widening and resurfacing project. And K, resolution of the Village Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, rejecting all bids received for the 2015 concrete flat work program. I have a motion on the consent agenda for all of the items, omitting G.
Madam President.
Trustee,
So moved.
I'm sorry, Trustee Aiello, yes, okay.
moved.
All right, we have a second? All right. Trustee Bolfus.
Second.
Okay. Now, any other questions or comments? We good? Okay. We good? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote then.
Okay, trustee Kazone,
Yes.
trustee Case,
Yes.
trustee Taglia,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
President Bullwinkle.
Yes. Okay, now we're going to go back. You'd have a separate motion, correct?
Yes.
For item G, so trustee Aiello? We need
I
to
would
make...
not be making that motion.
No?
Conflict.
Well, that's true. Okay.
Madam President, I'd like to make that
Okay,
motion
all right.
for item G.
Okay. All right, we have a second.
Can I number that?
Yes. Yes. You made the motion, yes.
Right.
Yes. All right. Got the second here, trustee Bolfus.
Second.
Yep, okay. Now, we would like to do a roll call vote on this then, for item G, first and final reading.
Trustee
Ordinance.
Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Abstain.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Go with the majority anyway.
Correct.
You go with the majority anyway.
No,
you're
no,
not going
he's
with
an
the majority
abstention
anyway.
for
It's a-
conflict.
Is it, oh,
So
so it's
his
not?
vote, because the
Okay,
record
just making
reflects.
sure, just making sure.
Right.
Because in the past, it's been a question.
Right.
Okay, all right, then we're good. And you're good, okay. I actually know what that's about, so, yeah. Okay, item number 5 on the formal then. First reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, allowing native plantings in yards of single-family dwellings subject to certain regulations. Have a motion. This is
Madam President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, since there's no...
Fails for a lack
Yep,
of a second.
Yep, since there's no second, it is done. All right. We're going to move on to item number 6 on the formal. First and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the rezoning to the C3 Business District of the property located at 420 West Stone Road. Petitioner is seeking rezoning of a .58 acre parcel at 420 West Stone Road from C1 Convenience Business District to C3 Service Business District. On May 14th, 2015, the Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing and unanimously recommended approval of this ordinance. Staff also supports the request. Have a motion for this first and final?
Madam President.
Trustee Kazone.
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Madam
Anybody?
President?
Okay. Trustee
Second.
Bolfus. Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board in regards to this item? Trustee Wagner.
Yeah, I just have a question. This is a memo from the petitioner. There was some mention of some fumes that was affecting another tenant. I just happened to, just out of curiosity, I'm wondering what that's all about.
I don't know, but looks like our Director of Community Development might have an answer for us.
I do have an answer.
Okay.
Last fall, well, maybe it was actually very early this year, in January, we responded to a complaint of one of the tenants at that building of some fumes that they were smelling. Upon examination, we found a tenant in the building operating illegally. They had no certificate of occupancy. We have since the owner has removed that tenant from the building, and the other tenants in the building have reported no noxious fumes since then.
Thank you.
We good? Okay. Anybody else down there? Good? How about down to my right? Anything? Going once, going twice? Okay. We are going to roll call vote then.
Okay, Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay, item number 7 then, on the formal. First and final, we good? Did I miss anything? Okay, we're good. Okay. First and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a conditional use of truck rental at 207 East North Avenue. Petitioner is seeking a conditional use on .58 acre parcel at 207 East North Avenue for truck and trailer rental. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval, and staff supports the request. Do I have a motion on this item? Anybody?
Madam President.
Trustee Ayello.
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Madam President.
Okay.
Trustee
second.
Taglia.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay. Any other questions and comments from the board in regards to this item? Nope.
Madam
Nope.
President.
Oh, Trustee Wagner.
There was one item in there that staff recommendations, so that they were lacking an RPZ valve. Is that a backflow preventer? Okay. But I didn't see that in the things that we're going to implement for them. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't think I saw it.
Okay. Well, yes. Oh. You guys are going to arm wrestle who comes forward, huh? Wow.
RPZ is
All right.
required as a condition of occupancy, so we'll catch it anyway.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Good? Okay. Anybody else? No? And we've been reassured that everything's been moved, and it's what the pictures depict tonight. It's not what's happening out there now. And if for some reason it happens again, we will address it? Okay. All righty then. Roll call vote.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Wolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay. Item number 8 now. This is public comments on non-agenda items. Do we have anybody in the audience that has anything in regards to non-agenda? Oh. Are we good? Oh.
This time I'm not coming up to fix the microphone.
Al Stash.
My name is Al Stash. I live at West Kenilworth in Villa Park.
Yeah.
And I'm here about 3 different things, so I'll try to make it within the 3 minutes because I know how that buzzer comes on.
Nope.
First of
Quiet
all,
tonight.
This Wednesday, June 10th, we are having our first Villa Park Bike Club kickoff meeting at Cortese Park, and I want to invite everybody to attend. Trustee Wagner has been very helpful in setting some agenda items for that and always promoting the bike activities here in Villa Park. We know that there's significant bike clubs in other communities, but it's time for Villa Park to initiate our own, and we're going to do that. That is going to do not only your traditional bike activities like long rides for speed and total throughout the year, but also rides for people who may have difficulty riding bikes, not only handicapped, but seniors. We're going to have programs for that. Second is this coming Sunday is the first car show of the year. That'll be the Sunday night car shows at Cortese Park, and they are from 3 until 8 p.m., and they will be every Sunday except for the 4th of July weekend and Labor Day weekend, where we won't have a car show because people will be out of town and doing other things, but that will go through September. And finally, one other
When
thing.
does that start again? I'm sorry.
This Sunday, June 14th.
June 14th. Okay.
Right. And this is different from the car show that's going to be on June 19th, which is at the Summerfest. Okay, this one is a weekly car show.
Yeah.
And finally, one last thing. In the room today is a gentleman who's had 40 years in the fire service in April. And we recognize that in a number of different ways. We did an interview with our own fire chief, Ron Rakosnik, a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to have that interview on TV this Friday night at 9 p.m. Chief Rakosnik served first in Wilmette. Yeah, and then was York Center firefighter, because that's where his father was a firefighter as well, and also served in Lombard. And where he came to us was 3 years ago on May 29th, when we had the fire at the VFW Hall here in Villa Park. He was in command of that and actually was 2 weeks away from becoming our fire chief.
Right.
So we're recognizing it. You'll get some good insight not only to that fire that the VFW had as an occurrence 3 years ago, but also some other significant events that he's been directly involved in. And one that's really important is Chief Rakosnik, when he was in the Lombard Fire Department, was part of a crew that identified quartz lights, those lights that had the inverse design and then a quartz light across the top. It shined up to the ceiling. There was a fire in Lombard that destroyed a bedroom, and they didn't really believe what happened, the fire department. So they did some tests and found out that these lamps were very dangerous, 1,000 degrees from the lamp that was on top of that. Anything that fall on top would create a fire, and that's what happened. He was on Dateline NBC over this event several years ago, and also locally, and got them to make some substantial changes in the light design. And, they were using a lot of dorm rooms, so, goofy things happen in dorm rooms that could fall on top of that and create fire. So you'll hear about that and what took place during that event. So I please ask you to watch. It'll be on YouTube after that, but this Friday night at 9 p.m.
Awesome.
Okay?
All right,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you. And our chief is standing in the back of the room, so give him a high five. All right. Thank you, Chief Rakosnik.
40 years, he doesn't look a day over 39.
Not at all. Youngster. Hi, John. What's going on?
A couple thank yous. First, I want to thank Chief Pavlicek and his department for a correspondence I had recently. Thank you for your help. A lot of good people there. Manager Keener, last few months, I want to thank you for your correspondence as well. Always easy to communicate with you, making time for me to talk to you. Rich has gotten very smart. He makes my meetings at 4:30 or 4 to 5 to get me out of there. I can be very demanding sometimes. So, I want to thank a couple of people in town, a couple of businesses allowed me to present some flyers at their place, and I'm doing a little outreach help with the organization here called Almost Home Foundation, and thank you for helping me with that. And if you'd like to enjoy yourself, the Friday nights in June, you can go to Harry Carey's in Lombard. Friday nights, enjoy some guitar music, and you can bring your pet. So you got three more.
Called the
nights
Dog
left.
Days, okay.
And the reason I decided to help with this outreach program is they provided me with a new addition to my family recently in February. This is Sunka, or as the Indians would say, Shunka, transported last year from Indian Reservation in South Dakota. He is now residing safely in my home, eating quality kibble, residing on leather furniture, and Sunka will be making his appearance around the village. You may see him at some events, and he will most likely be wearing a donation vest. So if he'd be so kind, he would appreciate that. Don't be afraid to take out your wallet and hide your hot dogs, because he's a big boy at 90 pounds.
What's
Very
his
good
name?
boy. Shunka.
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 Very
So he
pretty.
came from Indian Reservation in South Dakota, Pine Ridge Forest Community in the United States. He was running wild out there, came back with 52 other dogs. So
Wow.
you may see him around, and very
We
good
think-
boy, been very welcomed in the community.
Yeah?
And everybody loves him. Also, September 26th, 2015, DuPage Foresters, I wanted to mention this. I talked about this organization a while ago. 2milliondogs.org, Cancer Research Oncology. The gentleman who started this organization, 2 Million Dogs, his goal is to have 2 million people walk 2,000 miles with their dogs. Anybody who's ever suffered canine cancer in their companion animals knows how difficult it can be. They can't communicate with you. It's very hard to deal with. I've been through it myself. I know others have. This is going to be in Wheaton this year, September 26, 2015, and it was a very, very emotional event. I was there in 2013 in Dundee. You might want to get involved in that. I'll mention this later on. It's called the Puppy Up Walk. They're actually going to change their name to Puppy Up, and a lot of great people involved in that. A lot of fun, and hopefully the weather will be nice. Great turnout, good times, and this gentleman walked 2,000 miles with his two Great Pyrenees in 2008 to raise awareness to cancer, and he just did another incredible walk. I got to meet him in 2013, and incredible. But
Okay.
that's all.
Well,
Thank you.
great, thank you. Yes, I've lost 2 dogs to cancer, so I understand how you feel. It's a tough thing to go through. So, okay, anybody else? Still on non-agenda items. Yep.
Okay, I just came here to make sure that people are aware of the Summerfest is
We all
this
have.
month,
Yeah, I think we all have
June 19th and 20th. On the 19th is a Friday night. There will be a car show on Park Avenue. If you have an antique car in your garage or any classic car, please bring it out, Villa Park residents. We'd love to see those. I know there's a lot of them in Villa Park. Please bring them out that night and come join us on Park Avenue. We will be entering in on Park from Summit, so bring them through that way. It's from 6 to 11 that night. Of course, on Saturday morning, the kids' events will take place starting at 11 and go until 10:30. Of course, the kids will be gone, but the adults will still be around. 10:30. If you have any question, there is a website you can go to on, I think it's on Villa Park's
Well, they have a
site,
separate-
right? There is a
Yeah.
joint
hot button, yeah.
on a hot button on the website.
Yeah, villaparksummerfest.com, though.
Right, but I think there's also a button on
There
the
is.
Villa Park website that they can quickly get to the Summerfest information.
And on
That's all I
Facebook,
want to do, is make sure the residents are aware of it. Thank you.
Great. It's also on Facebook, and yes, do you need any volunteers?
We do need volunteers.
Okay.
We just-
Yeah, I was going to ask about that anyway,
Yeah,
so.
we do need volunteers. There's
Okay.
a site on there that they can volunteer and the person to contact.
Okay, perfect. Okay, wonderful. 'Cause that's coming up pretty fast already. Jeez. Whew, crazy. All right, anybody else for non-agenda items? We good? Okay, we're gonna, village clerk's report, item number 9.
Yes, I have one
Something
item.
for us?
Yes. Wednesday, June 17, will be the senior picnic The the Senior Concerns Commission is sponsoring this picnic over at Community Recreation Building. It'll be from 10 to 2 p.m. It is a barbecue. We hopefully will have even some staff barbecuing for us. But it'll be, the commission will be doing the work and other friends as well. All seniors are invited. This is a free event. There will be live entertainment by Steve Justman, and he had entertained for, I think, 3 different years over at the Kiwanis Summer Concert. So people ought to be aware of him, have heard him. Also at the library, he did live entertainment. So really good program. So we just hope all the seniors are aware of it. We're trying to post this in the various places, but they'll also be online with all the media, Village Media.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. It's coming up too pretty soon. All right. Village trustees report. I'll start to my right. Trustee Bolthus, you have anything? Nope. Okay. Trustee Taglia, you're hiding back there.
No
You have
report.
anything tonight?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Trustee Case?
Nothing tonight.
Nope. Okay. To my left. This is going quick. Trustee Kazone, you gonna break the mold
I
here?
gotta break it.
All right.
2 things real quick. One is a charitable thing. On June 19th, Dan Gibbons Turkey Trot Foundation is having a, we're calling the Fighting Hunger Games. It's going to be the longest day of golf, 100 holes. We're going to have 36 golfers. Each one is trying to get $2,500 in pledges. If anyone would like to donate, you can go to, the website is DGTT Events. So it's Dan Gibbons Turkey Trot Events.org. And you can donate to your favorite golfer. And that's going to be on June 19th at Maple Meadows. And one other thing, today is Trustee Case's birthday. So
Invited you on a board. Take it down
He was outed by Facebook
Pizza.
earlier today,
yeah.
so yes.
39.
Yeah,
good. You look good. 4 years at a board with this hair. 8 years over here.
Yep. You earned every single one. Okay, that's very nice.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not even
Surprise.
a big thing, That's okay.
Very nice. Okay, Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a few things. I want to offer my condolences to the family of Anna Smith, owner of GM Smith & Son, wife of George Smith, longtime business owner in town, and offer my condolences to her family. She struggled with an illness for a long time. Just want to let members of the public know that the Park and Rec Advisory Commission meeting, the formal meeting of that commission, has been switched tentatively to June 16th, Tuesday, June 16th, at Iowa Community Center. Over the weekend, I had a chance to ride on the 606 trail in the city of Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of hoopla and news coverage. It's beautiful, but it's got nothing on the prairie path. It's rather short
There's lots of concrete
and rather
too,
congested,
so,
so it doesn't have the beauty that our prairie path does. Also want to let folks know that June 12th through June 19th is Bike to Work Week, and a lot of suburban folks participate in that. And I think people are getting to know that biking is not just recreational, but it's transportation for a lot of people. You see the PACE buses that have bike racks on them, CTA buses with bike racks. So biking is really becoming more of a prominent as a transportation mode. And as we approach the summer months and kids are out of school, they're biking and they're playing around the streets. Just advise people to be careful and slow down on the streets. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, Trustee Ayala.
I'm not going to let the left side go here without one more.
Go for it. This is
I
your
want to
time.
congratulate Willowbrook on having the greatest class ever. 2015. We were told at graduation that it was the greatest Willowbrook class ever. The school student body president made that very well known that it was the best class ever in 60-some years, 56 years of the school. So congratulations to Willowbrook.
Yeah.
And not Matt Bosley, but Matt Bosley, a longtime village resident. His son actually was first in the class, so congratulations to the Bosley.
Yeah, very nice, yes.
That's it.
Yeah, that good? All right. Thank you for that. All right, village manager, it's a tough act to follow.
No, Your Honor, I just
What'd
have
you
one item. I believe Chief Pavlicek will be barbecuing for the seniors picnic.
Ooh. Yeah, with one arm?
Yes, he's pretty talented, Your
Yeah.
Honor.
Well,
With
hey,
that, I
if
pass.
well, if the drummer for Def Leppard can do it with one
I
arm.
thought that was a new weapon you were bringing out.
You know, if the drummer for Def Leppard can do it, you can do it. You can grill. Okay? Yeah. Standing over in the corner here. So, all right. Well, for that, everybody should come out. You gonna be wearing the hat and the whole thing? Wow. Okay. Got to come just for that. So, okay. Thank you, Manager Keener. All right. Item number 12, village attorney's report.
No report.
No report. Okay. Item number 13, consider executive closed session. A, 5 ILCS 120-2 C1, personnel matters and collective bargaining. B, 5 ILCS 120-2 C5, purchase or lease of property. C, 5 ILCS 120-2 C6, sale or lease of property. D, 5 ILCS 120-2 C11, pending litigation. E, 5 ILCS 120-2 C21, discussion of closed session minutes. And F, 5 ILCS 120-2 C28, meetings between internal or external auditors and governmental audit committees, finance committees, and their equivalents. Do I have a motion to convene into exec session?
Madam President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, Trustee Wagner, do we have a second? Trustee Aiello? Okay, we have a second. All right, we'll do a roll call vote.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. All right, we're going to convene into exec session. We'll be coming out of exec session. That's when we'll adjourn. And we will possibly have some actions following exec session. So, but our next board meeting is Monday, June 22nd, here at 7:30 Village Hall. So, see you later. Thank you, Villa Park.